Okay, so the June turn was very exciting. I want to take a look at the things that happened. First big one that happened, Romania finally entered the war. That's their counter there. They joined the Entente, and that's the big hammer that needed to fall. It's causing a lot of issues, but we'll see. The English and Germans had another little engagement out in the North Sea. Actually, this was a huge one. The English were able to force a shock battle, which meant both full fleets came in fairly early. Still ended up to be a British loss, but they managed to regain control of the North Sea. And they also managed to do a few parting shots on some of those old German battleships. The casualties, the remainder of the British battle cruisers, there were 2 left, were sunk. And other than that, four modern British battleships were sunk, and 4 old German battleships. Overall, victory point wise, it was a minor victory, but the loss of modern battleships is much more serious than the loss of these old ones. Some of them couldn't even fire because the range was too far. The Germans were able to get a night battle out of it, which was really potent for them. Okay, the big offensive started. The Italian offensive started before. It's gotten much bloodier. The Austrians were actually considering a counteroffensive to take the rest of the Alps. The French offensive on Thionville began. Again, didn't go anywhere. No big shock there. The Swiss threw themselves at the German line as well. It's just a matter of trying to bleed the Central Powers dry. But Romania entering the war is not such a small thing. So, because Romania was entering, and it was obvious that the Russian offensive in Galicia, which had already started, was going to be successful, the Germans jumped in and grabbed the initiative and tried to continue their offensive unloads. Flash bombardment, they didn't get the infiltration, they didn't get anywhere. Mainly, they lost a lot of lives. Once the flash bombardment is really effective if the defender doesn't know where you're going to hit. But here, it had to be loads, and they were able to defend it rather well. So, the Austrians had to pull back, and they withdrew mainly from Galicia and Transylvania area because of the Austrians had to pull back because of the Romanian entry. And that changes a lot of things. Przemysl is now under siege. The Germans are moving troops southward to take some of the Carpathian line because the Austrians are needed more and more in the Balkans. Now, there aren't a lot of Romanians right now, and you see the Russians are moving in to connect up with them. But their particular location, and there are going to be a lot more, made it so that the entire Bulgarian army had to pretty much reposition itself on the Romanian border. The Austrians had to pull down their army, and everything's just spread so thin right now. Spread thin enough that the Serbians, had they been able to attack the Austrians, would have, but they didn't get the coordination down. But the Greeks did attack the Turks, and almost broke through. That Turkish line is a lot longer than it used to be. There aren't a lot of Bulgarians holding the line. And because of Turkey's weakness, well, the Turkish attack, where is this? Tiflis. The Turkish attack on Tiflis began, and Enver Pasha did poorly enough, lost enough troops, that he's no longer in command of that army. We can't put Kemal in charge yet, not for another year. So right now there's nobody in charge of that. I don't think they're required to attack anymore because of it, though. Elsewhere, the British made a move through Gaza and made some advances there. They're making advances towards Baghdad and Mosul. And the Arabs are in revolt and have taken about half of Hejaz. Over in Africa, the Germans made a quick stab and beat the Allied armies in English Africa. This is mainly to try to put off the inevitable, because at this point, with Italians, French, and British, they have enough forces to eventually overcome the German forces. We're going to see what happens, but that Romanian entry, I think, has sealed Austria's fate. They don't have enough troops to hold what they had before. Without the Bulgarians threatening any kind of advance, just with English support and all the minor countries involved, I just don't see how the Central Powers can hold out. At least Austria. And once Austria is gone, what do you do? It's just too easy to Germany can't be defended without Austria. All right.